Hello, everybody, and welcome again to the UA podcast. This is the Symbols of Peace series, where each week we talk about a different symbol in the My Hero Academia card game and kind of break it down for you. I am your host, John Jennings, and with me is my co-host, Ryan Kraft. How's it going, Ryan?
Pretty good, man. How you doing today?
Doing good, man. Happy belated birthday. If you don't know, Ryan's birthday was Saturday. How old were you this year?
333 years old, sir.
God damn.
I'm a old ass man. No,
I
33.
know. 33.
33.
Nice, man. Nice.
Getting old.
I was going to say, everything's going to start hurting a little more for no reason. It
Yep, just
sucks.
catching up to you, son.
I know. It's, oof. Ugh, man. But yeah, so this week we are going to talk about the death symbol. We're getting close to being about halfway through the first round of this podcast series, breaking everything down for you. Attacks, foundations, characters. We're going to get all of that good stuff in a minute. But
Which is this our
first,
sixth symbol? Fifth symbol?
let's see, we did fire. No, we did order, fire, earth, void,
And
death.
death.
So this is
So we're five.
five.
Okay.
So we're just under halfway.
We're
So
we're almost to the top of the mountain, but we're only halfway there.
yeah, we're almost there. But first, we're gonna get into some current events. So you won't hear this live. We're recording on Sunday, but currently going on is the first major My Hero Academia tournament. It's not an official organized play tournament because that doesn't start until next year. But Legendary Wolf is putting on Legendary Wolf Gaming, I should say, in Nebraska, Omaha, Nebraska. Is that right?
Yep. The Omaha Smash.
For all you 311 aficionados like myself and Matt, who's not here with us, but that's where 311's from, so that's awesome as well. Ryan, I know you probably don't care about 311. No.
All I know is that you guys love 311 and Bouncing Souls. That's all I know about
Yes.
you.
Unironically love 311. But yeah, so that's going on. The first day finished up, and we have the top 8 from that. And so, as I'm sure most of you know, if you don't know, the big thing about My Hero is there's no diversity rule. So your top 8s are going to look a lot different than normal UFS stuff. So the top 8s in order from first to 8th, we have Kirishima, 2 Kamui Woods, 4 more Kirishimas, and then a Nomu. And then we'll just round out the top 12 or so. So after just missing the mark, we have a Tokiyami, then another Nomu at 10, surprisingly an Aoyama at 11, and then another Tokiyami at 12.
Just go through 16. What's the top 16?
Okay, so that was 12. Then we got a Jiro at 13, Midoriya at 14, Sero at 15, and Eraser at 16. So
Okay.
a pretty good spread. I mean, there's a lot. Obviously, there's a ton of characters already in this set.
Yeah.
I will say I am not shocked at all at the number of Kirishimas at the top of this thing. Ryan and I both have been beating the drum that he's the best character in the set. And so I'm not shocked by this at all. What are your instant reactions to this?
Yeah, I'm not shocked that there's 5 Kirishimas in the top, man. Like, especially with this being the first event with no diversity. It's like people are just going to play the easiest deck that they can get into a top 8 with and have a chance to win some money. Because it is a cash prize event. And, like, yeah, he's the best character, and people are just going to play that deck. I don't think he's broken. But I think when people are presented 2 options to get to the same place, they're going to usually pick the easier option, right? I mean, there's other decks people could play to get into a top 8, obviously, but when Kirishima is so easy to pilot and so powerful, why not just play him?
Yeah, I mean, that's like net decking exists for a reason, right? Like, this is it's he's the best character, like you said. It's an easy deck to pilot. I think just because he is easy doesn't mean that you'll automatically get into the top 8. His powers, his abilities make it easier to get there, but it takes a lot of skill to know when to use them best, when to pick up the right attacks, how to like kind of prepare ahead to pick up the right blocks and that kind of thing. I know there's already been some discussion I've seen on forums and things like that of people bitching about diversity not being in the game because of this. But like, oh, well, it could have been 8 different characters. I really wish we could have seen that. No, that's not what you want. That's bad.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's imagine that Kirishima is actually broken for a minute. I don't know if he is. I haven't seen enough of the game be played yet. But if he is broken, and there's diversity in this tournament, and there's one Kirishima in the top 8, and then, maybe there's like 20 people playing Kirishima, but only one makes the top 8, no one cares at that point because there's only one in the top 8, and you just have to beat one of them to actually win the tournament. If there's 5 of them in the top 8, 6 if you count the guy who's sideboarding into Kirishima every game, then maybe that points to an actual problem and it will drive some change to the character if there is one. At the very least, it actually develops a real meta to the game instead of everything just being under this blanket of diversity where you literally can't see what's actually going on underneath. You just see whatever, gets allowed up to the top.
Mm-hmm.
So I would absolutely hate if diversity came back. And I know that you would probably just quit the game if diversity came back. But
It would, yeah. I
yeah.
would have to. I'd have to think real hard about my commitment to the game if they brought back diversity. I just also, guys, there's gonna be a lot of hot takes like, oh, we need to ban Kirishima, or we've got to errata him right now. Guys, it's the first event.
Yeah.
Let's pump the brakes. It's
Yeah.
not even an official event. We don't even have Pack One DLC in the game yet.
Right.
Let's calm down. Um, what this shows is that if your deck is going to be competitive, you've got to be able to beat Kirishima. And that's on you as a player to figure out what deck that is and how to play it. If you think, well, my favorite character is Deku, and he just can't beat Kirishima, and that's not fair, well, then you've just got to come to the realization. You gotta have a come to Jesus meeting with yourself and Deku. Like, Midoriya, I love you, bro. We'll play
Yeah.
in casuals, but in competitive, we're gonna sit you aside. We're gonna play somebody else.
Yeah, I mean that's just not the nature of card games, right? Or especially, I guess, a competitive card game. Like
Yeah.
you can't always just play the thing that you love, especially in
Mm-hmm.
a game like this where you have like a hero that's sitting out in front of you. Like, yeah, you want to play your favorite character from the anime. I get it, but if your favorite character is, I don't know, All Might, or something, I don't know, like you maybe just not be able to play All Might. Maybe you got to go play just something else. Play like Tokiyami or Kirishima, even though you might not like those characters. Like you
Yeah.
just have to make those choices sometimes in card games.
Yeah, it all depends on what you want to like. What is your objective in the game? If your objective is just to have fun and you don't care about winning or losing, by all means, play your favorite character.
Get your
Then
promos.
get your promos, show up, have fun, hang out with your bros.
Yeah,
Just do that. I totally respect that. But
yeah,
I'm a competitive person. I play because I want to win the game,
right. And I mean,
and so
like,
yeah.
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say like I want to play whatever the best deck is. Like I don't play Legends of Runeterra right now because I've been devoting all my time to my hero. But when I played Legends of Runeterra, I was just like, what are the best decks? What has the best win percentage against the other best decks? That's what I played.
Yeah,
And like, what if I'm gonna ladder climb and get to I can't remember, I think it's Master is the top rank. When I got to Master, it was like, well, this is what I was playing. I was playing the best deck. And when those decks change, I pick up whatever the best deck is and play that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I totally respect people who that don't like diversity. Like, I get why people don't like diversity. It's because they do what we were just talking about. They want to play their character, their favorite character. They want to build a unique deck, and they want to potentially win a tournament with it. But I don't think that gives you any real, like, it doesn't develop a real competitive meta when you have stuff like that going on, because the best deck just never makes it to a point where you can develop around it and find out ways to beat it, like you were talking about. And like, realistically, there's only one set out, like you alluded to earlier. There might just be a best character that doesn't really have a counter right now. You probably have to wait till a second set comes out sometimes. And if it isn't
Mm-hmm.
Kirishima, it's just going to be another character. And then if we keep wanting people to like ban and errata every character that ends up being the best, there's going to be no characters left except for, I don't know, like
Five
Nomu
hand
and
size All Might.
Five Hand Size All Might. Like, oh yeah, neither of these characters are busted. We're all playing these two characters now.
Yeah, at that point, it's just every character is a blank 625. Let's go.
Yeah, and I mean, you know what? If Jasco can figure out a way to balance the game perfectly, where there's not a best deck, more power to him for being the first company to ever be able to do it. But
Mm-hmm.
like realistically, there's going to be a best deck at some point.
Mm-hmm. And that's just it is what it is. That's the nature of card games. And well, I would think also from Jasco's point of view, you would want to know the feedback from the game. Like, oh, now we know Kirishima. Like we did in playtesting, we thought maybe we toned Kirishima down, but maybe he's still just too good. He's still a little overtuned. We need to
Mhm.
errata him. Maybe you want that information. But the problem with like snap erratas, like say you fix Kirishima for set one, like he's too powerful. You change his ability so that you can only use his enhance on your turn or something, or you can only pick up card once per turn or something.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, hey, we did it, we fixed it. Then set 2 comes out and maybe he's just unplayable now.
Right.
Do you want that? That a character from your base set is just unplayable because you made a snap judgment and overreacted to like a few tournaments when there was
Yeah.
a very small pool of cards? No, I don't
Yeah.
think you do.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know how many people are actually calling for an errata on Kirishima or anything like that, but I'm sure if tournaments keep happening, he keeps being very prevalent, then those calls will begin. But like personally, like I don't think there should be any changes to any cards until at least the third set.
No.
That's just me though.
Yeah, I think at that point you'll have a very, no pun intended, or I guess a very diverse pool of cards, right?
Yeah.
Like there'll be a lot of stuff to pick from, and then if you're still having like half of top eights and maybe like half of top 20s or top 16s are still just Kirishimas, okay, then there's a problem. Then you need to address it, right?
Yeah.
Um, all that aside, now that we've gotten off our soapbox about why we think is bad and why we don't want it in the game, I am super excited to see how this tournament uh, finishes up, man. Also, mainly because there's like $1,000 on the line, right?
Yeah, man.
$1,000 cash prize. That's awesome. They got Chris Sabat to be at the event. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Just the voice of All Might.
I think Miles got to teach him how to play the game yesterday,
Oh,
which
that's
seems
really
pretty
cool.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I got to figure out time to go out there and go to a tournament or something. I've never been there, and I'll be honest, it's probably impossible now that I have a baby.
Yeah,
But
it's definitely gonna be tougher for you. Gonna have to be
yeah,
a lot of discussions at home to figure that one out.
yeah. It's like, so Colleen, you cool just like chilling with my baby's name is Miles, not Miles from Legendary Wolf. You cool with just chilling with Miles for like a week or so while I just jet off to Nebraska to play cards?
Right.
Spoilers, no.
No, that's not happening. But
Also, I have
yeah,
a job too, so I couldn't just leave that.
well, that's what PTO is for, man, to go play card games.
But fair enough.
Self
Just
by
call in sick
yourself.
every day.
By yourself. Without your family. That's
Yeah,
what you use
I
your
mean,
PTO for.
yeah. I work for the government anyway, right? So it's just whatever.
True, true.
I don't actually work.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
So I guess
But
that's all we're gonna talk about on this front, right? Like I know we don't want to dive too far into the tournament since it's not finished up
nah.
yet.
Nah. Well, after the tournament's over, we'll probably someone in a combination of UA personnel will have a discussion about the results
Tournament
of something
team.
tournament team. They'll talk about it. But there was no Joffus this week. Both Tim and Jason were at the event, so there's no Joffus. The only other thing, we still don't know the exact release date for the DLC. It's sometime in November, whenever that could be. You're free to speculate. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
We know
All
what
the
they
official
are.
spoilers came out, and all the cards are the same as we'd already seen because people had
Mhm.
physical cards, and that's where the spoilers came from.
Yep.
So yeah, no surprises on that front, and
Um,
it's still saying November. So hey, there's only a
yeah.
few dates that fall under that umbrella.
I was gonna say we're already on. It's the 7th as we're recording.
Yeah,
So there's a finite amount of time for it to still come out in November. So it's gotta be sometime soon. The sooner
sometime
the
soon.
better. Yeah, man, because those cards look good. I like those cards.
I just need my Uraraka foundations. That's what I need. I need my
Yeah.
Ida attacks. That's what I need.
Uh huh. Even attacks. I like that All Might though. I think he's
Yeah, All Might gonna be the best ranged fire deck? Question mark.
question mark. Don't know. I think Tokiyami's still better, but he's a big beefy boy though. Was he 629?
Yeah,
God damn, that's a thick butt.
it is. I mean, yeah, we'll not talk about this. Well, we can talk about it. Shit. I mean, he dumps so many cards into his discard like so much faster than Tokiyami does because he can do it on every attack.
Mm-hmm.
And
And,
so like, he
and
can get Frigid Heat Wave online on like turn 2 if you like really wanted to, you know.
I was gonna say, I think he's better than both Tokiyami and Todoroki at doing it.
Yeah, and I mean he could
Uh,
also use was it Self Assured, the one that blows up to draw for every 4
Mhm.
range cards in your discard. Like he can get that online pretty quick.
Yeah.
Um,
And he's also just drawing cards himself, right?
yeah,
With the momentum,
it's
you can
like
discard momentum to draw a card,
yeah,
draw another card.
yep.
Just-
I don't know. He's gonna be a
And
card drawing machine, man.
he is, and I just love that pose. It's so awesome. The card art, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's a good art. I like it.
Uh,
Is
all
it his
right.
best art?
Um,
Art review time. Let's see.
Art review time. The
I'm gonna put them
so
up
the
on
five hand
screen.
size All Might is pretty good. It's got the
Yeah,
yeah that's more like a
I like that
WWF
one.
pose, right?
True form All Might. He looks like just everybody that
Yeah,
sits in the room and plays games all the time.
yeah.
He's struggling. I don't like true form. I do like All Might 3 where he's like punching you.
Yeah, the Gen Con All Might, that one's pretty
Yeah,
good.
that one's pretty
Um,
good. I like that
it's a good
art.
action pose. Um, I guess I love this like it encapsulates like the goofiness of All Might,
Yeah.
where he's
Art.
like I'm gonna beat the shit out of everybody, but also I'm just a giant doofus.
So is the art on All Might 3 the same as the Gen Con promo version of that card?
I think the background is different. It's like a
Yeah.
background, like a black background or something
Yeah.
on
It has like
the
a
Gen Con one.
it's got like lasers in the background on the Gen
Okay,
Con one,
yeah,
but it is
I
the
think it's
same
the
art.
same pose. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I would put my money if I had to pick a favorite pose. I think I'd go with All Might 2, the one from the DLC. I think I'm with you.
Mm, I like that one. Um,
Art
well,
review time is over.
I was gonna say now let's get into what this podcast is actually about. Uh, today we're gonna talk about the death symbol. Kind of break down what its themes, what it's good at, what it's where it struggles. We'll talk about some attacks, some foundations. But first up, we're gonna go through talking about some characters. It's got a pretty good variety of characters. So from the base set, you've got Eraserhead, Bakugou, obviously from the starters, Nomu, Shigaraki, Aoyama. We've got the True Form All Might from the Quirk packs, and then you've got the Uraraka DLC character.
And
Um,
did you say Ojiro as well?
and Ojiro, yes, he's also from the Plus Ultra packs, the tournament packs.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is one of the first symbols where there's not like one character that I gravitate to that this is obviously far and away the best character out of this symbol. Um, I think it's probably still Racerhead just because he has death. So and I think he's one of the better characters in the set. So I'm gonna tend to gravitate towards him. But I just feel like most of these characters are just really solid. Obviously, we've talked about how we don't like Nomu, but he's hey he made top 8.
He's in the first ever MHA top 8.
It's
He's a
well
gangster.
unofficial.
That's true. Well, yeah, it's officially happening.
Fair enough. I mean, it's for cash prizes. That's as good as
Yeah,
anything.
that's as official as it needs to be for me, son.
I know,
Money.
right?
Yeah, so like I feel like we had the same situation with Void last week, right? Where like every
Mhm.
single character was really good. There was no clear best character last week, to me at least. I think we agreed that Kirishima was, really good, but I think he has some competition on that symbol.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think here you don't really have anyone that's really an outlier.
No, and I'm really interested. I think that the new Uraraka, the fact that she has death, I think is really interesting. Um, just because she's a 5 hand size character that's not really a 5 hand size character because she's looping an attack every turn from her card
Yeah,
pool, which is awesome. So you're not really down an attack that way. Um,
yeah, she wants to play like Shigaraki stuff, right? Is
yeah,
that the
to
play?
pick it back up and do stuff.
Just do it over and over.
Yeah, because it's just a non-throw attack, I believe.
Yep,
She
non-throw
says.
attack. If it deals damage, add it to your hand, and your next check to play an attack gets +2.
Yep, that's really powerful. Especially with some of those high difficulty attacks.
Hmm.
Uh, but like I said, I think Eraserhead is still probably the best character out of these. Matt and I did some playing this week. He played Shigaraki, and I played Sero. And Shigaraki still as good as I think we all thought he was. I think he needs just a little more. He needs a little more card draw, maybe, to really push him over the top. But that burn ability is so tough.
Yeah,
He
as
just,
soon as you get touched by it, like it feels real bad. Especially if you're
yeah.
playing a 7-hander and a quarter of your life just goes away on top of the
Uh,
attack damage. Ugh.
I was gonna say it's more than a quarter. It's like half. Because like most attacks are gonna do base 4 or 5,
Yeah.
and he hits you once. You're like, oh man, I have to completely block this, or it's real bad.
Yeah. And
Um,
once again, I love the theme. Great
mhm.
theme on this character. He touched me and killed me. Well, just like the anime.
Yep, yep. Um, I trying to think. I really
So
want True Form All Might to be better than I think he is. We've talked about this some.
yeah,
I like that character. 730 is the nuts stats wise. I just don't think he's good enough.
yeah.
I have to admit it.
I'm not ready to say that about him yet. I still I still think that character has potential. I
Yeah.
think the most. I mean, you and I have been on record on any podcast we've been able to talk about it about how we think Aoyama could be good at some point, right?
Mm-hmm.
And after seeing what's going on with this tournament, where there's actually not that many eraser heads doing well, maybe he's not as locked down in the meta as we thought he would be. Maybe he can actually be played.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the thing we talked about, right? Is with Aoyama, it's just if you go against a racer, you just kind of you feel bad. You're not really doing much. But if he's not against playing against a racer, I feel like he can really bring the pain. He can do a lot of really good stuff and get in there. His hand size kind of hurts. Like I feel like if he were like a 719, I think he would be a top tier character. Just because then you could really build up that foundation base and have that more resources to use his ability to fuel them. The
Yeah.
six hand size and the lack of card draw really hurts Aoyama.
So isn't I guess the trick though is you just play him off Earth, right? And you use all of Kirishima stuff to build,
You
and
build and you're flipping your cards back over, and
yeah.
yeah. So we need to talk about Bakugou as well. Obviously, he's a starter deck character. I feel like a lot of people are gonna want to play Bakugou. Um, I think he's really strong in character. I don't think he's in the running for the top of this list.
You
Maybe
don't think
it's
so?
just I I don't know. Like,
I think he is, man.
you think so? Okay.
Yeah, I mean any character that like does this kind of thing and just can put pressure on is
Mm-hmm.
generally up there. Um, I think he's pretty good. I could see him like winning a tournament in the right situation. It's not likely, you know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's probably just as likely as Nomu or Eraserhead or anyone else on the symbol.
Yeah. Um, and don't take that to mean that I dislike that character. I think that character is awesome. Anyone that clears their own card pool after an attack for an aggro character is bonkers. I
See
just
Froppy.
yeah, see Froppy. Well, to your point, I think Froppy's just better.
Yeah.
Um, but she's not in this discussion, so we're not going to talk about her. Uh, so as far as like what death does as a symbol from when I played an old UFS, death was my favorite symbol because I played the 8 hand size promo Adon, death, legendary blade, and you just melt faces. Which is kind of cheating because that Adon really did things outside of what death really wanted to do, which was more death's always I felt like kind of like a denial symbol. It kind of shared a similar space to Void, not quite like the hard control that Void was, but maybe more like discard stuff, maybe more like because I feel like what the symbol foundation do, it was like you looked at your opponent's hand and discarded a card.
Mm-hmm.
It was that kind of control, maybe less like negating things, whereas Void might be like, oh, I'll negate this ability or something like that. Death was more just like I'm going to prevent you from ever trying to do it.
Yeah.
Um, Now, I guess Yoga Mastery had Void too, didn't it? Because that card was just the fucking worst.
Whatever Dawson was like Death Earth Void or something like that, right?
All
All Death Void.
I think it was all Death Void. He had all for.
We're
I don't
gonna
know.
look. I'm on UVS Ultra right now. You're probably
Yeah,
right because I can't. Yeah, all Death Void. You're right.
yeah. That character was fucking good too. Dawson. That eight was he
This
like eight
card's
seventeen or something?
Yoga Mastery is a bad card. Just so you
It's got a 6 check.
know.
How could it be bad?
It's not bad. Yeah, 820 Dawson. Back when people
820.
could just have 8 hand size for free.
I mean, Adon was like 822.
Yeah,
That's the guy was
Nakaruru
724.
or not
Nakaruru
Nakaruru.
only had like
Yeah,
18 health or
Nakaruru.
19 health.
Yeah, but she was busted.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. Bring her back. Free Nakaruru.
Let's look at Nakoruru. Yeah, no, this is the wrong one. 623.
Mm.
Anyways, continue.
623.
Yeah.
Eh.
Eight.
Anyway.
819, John.
Mm-hmm. Totally fine. Totally fair.
She literally just committed your opponent's character over and over.
Mm-hmm.
RIP.
As I complain about Eraserhead.
Yeah.
But I feel like in My Hero, Death's kind of in a similar space as Void, and there's not a whole lot of discard in my hero, which I think is a good thing because it's a very NPE environment, and it should be. It shouldn't have been as free as it was in UFS. I think that's where I come down on it.
In old school UFS.
In old school UFS, back when I played, yes. Please, whenever when I refer to old UFS, I'm referring to Tekken or earlier because that's when I quit playing.
Yeah, he's talking
So
about like 2009.
yes. Oh my god, I'm so old.
Yep. Yep. 12 years ago,
Uh,
John. Just remember
oh
that.
Jesus. Yeah. Oh man. But so I think that's kind of where it is. It has. I feel like it's a lot of dealing damage to yourself for temporary boosting, whether it's like destroying your own foundations for a gain or burning yourself for like extra damage or extra speed. I think you've got a lot of that in death.
Mhm.
I think you're also it wants to every symbol wants to do this thing I'm about to say is putting your opponent in a position to make a bad choice. But death does it, and it's like I'm going to blow up this to make you blow up that, or I've got this card out here like Nervous Habit that says you can go ahead and like stun something, but if you do, I'm gonna make you blow something else up. I'm gonna blow this up to make you blow something else up, right?
Right.
It's it's just like a gun standoff basically, right? You just like I've got this ready. You can go ahead and shoot at me, but I'm gonna shoot you right back.
Yeah, so
Uh,
like Bakugou, Nomu, and Shigaraki all fall into that mold of doing that kind of stuff in death currently.
mhm.
I just don't. I mean, Eraser,
Mm,
Aoyama, All Might, like none of them really do any of that though. So I'm not
I
sure.
guess
I'm not sure how they fit into the death identity.
um Eraser kind of has that, right? Because he has Night Watch sitting out there, and that does like negate and enhance, right? A
Yeah, yeah,
non-character
yeah.
enhance. So it's kind of that way where it's like it's it's an obvious trap, but you still have to play around it, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's what kind of some of the death stuff is. It's sitting out there, you know it's waiting, and you still gotta you still gotta play through it.
Yeah,
And I think that's a lot of what death does. It's got some card pool clearing stuff just because Bakugo has a lot of that going on, and I think that's something that death has really never seen. Um, which is awesome for death because if you want to make like more of a death aggro build, you've got stuff where you like encouragement or instant explosive release where you're clearing your card pool, which is amazing.
yeah,
Um, I don't know that it's the best defensive symbol. It's got a couple of breaker cards from like Aoyama, Shigaraki. Obviously, Erase has breaker on it. Um,
yeah. I guess when you're talking about defense though, you got to look at the foundations. You can't just like Breaker. While it's a great at defense, is not like you know, it's not the thing
it's
that's
not the
keeping
end
you
all
alive
be
most of
all.
the time. So
Yeah,
like, you just want to hop into looking at the foundations for the set.
sure.
And you come back to attacks.
Mm-hmm. Uh,
Um, so like, let's look at just pure defensive stuff, right? So you got in danger.
mm-hmm.
So he's got the attack's damage has to be equal to or greater than your current health to give it -3 speed.
Yeah.
You got arrogant disposition that gives -3 speed to a punch. Um,
Mediator.
mediator, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you've played actions, you got apathetic to flip stuff.
Uh,
Um, super
shock
regeneration,
absorption. Yeah. So I guess it has a decent amount of
yeah.
speed reduction. I guess now that
hmm
I'm actually looking at it.
And super
Let's see.
regeneration is probably the best defensive foundation in the game.
Yeah.
Um,
I
just, just yeah,
that card is nuts. So earlier in the week, Matt and I played a series. I was playing Water Zero. He was playing Death Shigaraki, and the second game, he ended up at like 2 or 3 health. I can't remember, but he had used 3 super regenerations, and it's like, well, that was the difference in the game.
yep,
Um, and with super regeneration, obviously you've got stuff like glamorous, where you can after you play glamorous, if you want to, you can just flip super regeneration back over. You're like, well, there's another 3 health right there.
So I didn't see any of that Aoyama deck that was outside the top 8 at that tournament,
Hmm.
but I have to imagine they were playing off Earth or Death, right?
I would think so, not life. I'm
Um,
not sure which a whole lot of what you're getting off life. The
yeah,
Aoyama.
but I mean, you wanna be up in that super regeneration flippy unflip game, I would
Mm-hmm.
imagine. But shit, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Uh, I mean, presumably they're also running the cape with Aoyama, right? Like
Yeah, it's possible.
maybe like 1 or 2 of it.
Yeah,
Um, Uh, Death's also got some interesting little bit of card cycling with Bakugou. You've got that going on with some of the foundation with what is it?
Latent
Uh,
skill.
Latent skill. There you go. And he's got the
My
signature right swing that does it too.
one of my favorite.
Um,
Those are my favorite types of cards, man.
hmm
Things that just let me find more attacks and get buck wild. I love discarding foundations to draw random cards. It's great.
hmm Especially if you're playing Bakugo and you're using something like Burst Speed,
Yep, burst of speed, and he has the other one that is
Aggressive Temper.
aggressive temper. Yeah,
Let's see. Oh, there's also, I guess, Late Riser technically as well. Um, the Eraserhead Foundation.
ain't nobody playing that card, John.
I mean, it's a 1/5, right? You
It
can
is a
give
1/5. You're right.
combo attacks +1 damage. It's
Yep,
got a unplayable low block.
yep. So, anyways, moving on.
Um,
But yeah,
I will say it's kind of interesting, just on the note of Eraserhead's foundations. He's only got 3, and obviously Nightwatch is an amazing foundation, but it's unique. His other 2 foundations are like Mediator's good, but it also blows itself up.
yeah. Well, mediator I think is necessary just to be able to stay alive a lot of times with a racer. I think it's a really
Yeah.
good card because he
hmm
also draws you a card while reducing speed. I'm a
It
fan.
gives it -3, and obviously if you're playing Eraser, you use his ability to give it. So at that point, the attack is -5 speed.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is 2 out of 3 ain't bad, John.
Yeah, it's not bad. But Nightwatch, you only have 1 in play. It
Yeah.
removes itself, and Mediator. Again, I guess this falls into the theme of destroying your own foundations for temporary benefits,
Mhm.
right?
And then
Um,
Nightwatch, the most powerful foundation in the game by enabling an infinite deadlock combo, John.
oh yeah, can you explain that to our listeners if they don't know?
No.
No,
No. All right, so you got Nightwatch.
it just no.
You got Nightwatch with a deadlock form to flip to add 1 combo attack from your discard pool to your hand. You can't actually do this off death, right? Has to be off void.
Yeah, I don't even know what the attack is, to be honest. I can't remember.
And then, well, the thing is, you need coordinated effort, which does
You
not have death.
unflip.
Yeah, to unflip
Okay.
Nightwatch if you're in deadlock. So your deadlock form flip, add a combo attack from your hand. You add the 4 difficulty attack of Ayazawa of Eraserhead back to your hand. That's a combo attack, and you just play
Okay.
it over and over on 4 difficulty, pretty much. I don't know what it's called, but if you go into
Binding
deadlock,
cloth something.
binding cloth, no, it's binding kick,
Binding
right? Yeah, binding
binding
kick.
kick. Yeah.
Yeah, you just play it over and over on 4 difficulty, and you kill them. GG.
Well, actually, all his attacks have combo.
That's true. So you can play any of these.
Yep.
I guess.
I guess you could do binding cloth capture because at that point, presumably you play an attack or
I guess
an
you're-
action, and it'd just be a 3 difficulty.
Yeah, if you're playing an action in void on a character, yeah, and you get all that stuff in play, and you can just check 3s over and over. Sure, why not?
Yeah.
Seems good.
The point is, technically, I guess it is an infinite combo. It's very unlikely to pull off, though.
I don't know, man. I've seen a lot of people going into deadlock,
Oh, that's true.
even in that tournament. A lot of deadlocking happening.
Yeah. So just a reminder, kids. Try to always keep a way in your deck to destroy your own foundations, just to
Yeah.
keep yourself out of deadlock.
Yeah, dipping in and out of deadlock is necessary sometimes. You just don't want to
So-
get beat by it.
Yeah. So when you see stuff like self-sacrifice, and you're like, "Oh, what's this card? Destroy my own foundation for +1 or -1." The card's amazing. You need to keep that in your deck.
Or something like it.
Or something like it. Was it someone with style? I think while we're on the topic of death, someone with
Yeah.
style blow up your own foundation to ready it. That's good.
Yeah, once per turn. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's something. It's not the most amazing outlet,
No,
but
is an
it does
option.
the job.
While we're talking about foundations, one foundation I wish were a lot better is Villainous Entrance. Matt and I had this come up while we were playing because he had Villainous Entrance, and he's like, "Man, I always have this card in play, and I have never once used it." Right? Like, enhanced commit to give your Fury attack stun 1 is okay, I guess. Like, if you're gonna be able to, you can use it to tap out your opponent, but it doesn't feel great. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean, but like in a meta where there's Kirishimas all over the place, I mean, at least it
The
interacts with that.
response. Yeah.
I
The
mean,
response to make them
eh,
commit a card they build.
Yeah, I mean, you commit something. So, like, if you're attacking them, you play your first attack, commit to give your attack stun one, and if they build something, you flip it while it's committed. You know, um, make them commit the thing they just built, and then you can then play your stun one. So they're not really getting that value off their build on your turn. I mean, that's something. I mean,
It's
it's not like
something.
it's a game-breaking ability when you're playing against Kirishima, but it's something.
No, I don't know. It feels like a sideboard card, maybe. Although if
Um,
Kirishima's gonna be everywhere, I guess it's just main deck of that shit.
I feel like if this card's not good enough to be in your main deck, there's just no reason to sideboard it because it's not really changing your deck at all.
That's fair. Um, so if you had to pick the top like 2 or 3 foundations, what you got?
My favorite or the best?
We'll go. Okay, what is your what do you think is the best Death Foundation?
Super Regeneration.
Super Generation.
We'll do top three, I guess. Super
Okay.
Regeneration, Apathetic, and I'm probably gonna go. It's actually tough. There's a lot of good Death Foundations. They're all over the place.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
I'll say it's
go. I fucking love Latent Skill, so that's gonna be my third one.
latent skill. Okay.
What about you?
Super Regen obviously is the best. Um, I'll say encouragement. I think that card's really really good.
That
Uh,
was in my consideration as well.
um, and because I'm a more aggressive player, I'm gonna say first day of class. I
Yeah,
like I like that. Given my next attack extra checks and stuff like that, or extra make it easier to play, and also flipping and reading itself. It's really good
yeah.
too. That.
It lets you like get into your turn without.
Mm-hmm.
It's like bad luck protection for your first checks, right?
Yeah.
And that goes a long way.
Mm-hmm.
Although, man, it's gonna feel real bad when you use those and then you still just check a bunch of threes after, and you're like, well, all right, I thought I was good until I wasn't.
Yeah. So do you think there is a difference between what you think are the best and your favorite?
So if I was ranking my favorites, my number one would be different for sure, and it would be
Okay.
Latent Skill would be my
All right.
favorite. Then followed probably by Encouragement, um, because these are cards I actually play. I haven't actually built a deck that has Super Regen in it yet, and then probably my third favorite foundation would be Nervous Habit, actually, out of Death.
Okay. That is a
Um,
really strong card.
yeah, it's I like burning myself to give speed. I like speed, man.
Mm-hmm. Gotta go fast.
Gotta go fast. That's the only way to
I can't
win.
believe you didn't have Night Watch in either one of those top threes.
I'm not a Night Watch kind of guy, man.
Okay.
I don't play Eraserhead, and I'm not really playing actions. And also, I'm just in general not playing any of those symbols. To be fair,
Yeah, that's fair.
if you look at all those other cards I named, they also have a different symbol on them that I that I play. So
Yeah,
that's why I
like
like those
fire.
cards, like fire. Yeah.
That's fair.
What
That's
about you?
fair.
You got is your favorite different than your best?
Uh, no, I think Super Regen is my favorite out of these. Just because it's very easy to abuse. It doesn't destroy itself, unlike a
Yeah.
lot of the other good death stuff, which is nice. It just flips, and then you can just flip it back over. Obviously, also I play Kirishima off good currently, but even when I had him in the Earth build, Super Regen's awesome. 'Cause you use it, flip it, pick it back up, play it again,
Yeah.
make your opponent mad.
And that actually
Uh,
goes a long way. Like getting your opponent on tilt is a very viable strategy.
yeah. Um, which is why I'm kind of shocked there weren't more eraser heads near the top there, because you think people just get really frustrated not being able to use their character, but maybe it just didn't matter.
So there were a number of eraser heads at the tournament, from what I understand. They
Hmm.
just did not do well.
Fair enough. He does seem like he's going to be have a little more of a fine touch to pilot.
hmm And I don't know who was
Uh,
playing him. I have, I don't know anything about that. I'm sure there was good players playing him. Maybe he just wasn't good enough.
nah, Ryan, they're all scrubs. I don't know who they were, but they suck. I'm just kidding.
All
Uh, well, that's
right,
going to wrap up the foundation portion. Let's take a quick break, and we'll come back and we'll talk about some attacks.
let's do it.
I, Hello, everybody, and welcome to the UA podcast. This is the Symbols of Peace series. We're picking up our discussion on the death symbol. We've talked about characters and themes and stuff and foundations, and we're going to come back. We're going to talk about some attacks. But first, we're going to run through the actions real quick. There are two. There's a race, obviously with a racer. Don't really have a whole lot else to say about a race. If you're playing Eraserhead, you gotta play a racer. It's good. We talked about it a bunch in the Void episode. Go listen to that episode if you want to hear about a race. We do have another action, and that is Evil Gaze. Ryan, what are your thoughts on Evil Gaze?
Yeah, so we had to like make a point to talk about this time because we kind of skipped over it on our Fire podcast. Remember, we actually
Mhm.
just completely skipped over Evil Gaze. We didn't even bring it up, I don't think. But so Evil Gaze 0/5 +1 mid with a breaker 1 block. It's doing the Shigaraki things, right? Where you lose 2 health and make your opponent make a choice if they want to
Mhm.
block or not. So I don't know how you feel about this card. I feel like this card is just not quite good enough. Like I think it's a good card. I just don't know if it's good enough that I would ever put it in a deck unless I was maybe playing a 7-hand size character. Because it seems like it would feel really bad to be playing a 6-hander and you throw like an 8 damage attack at your opponent. You lose 2 health to give it +2 speed. And so at that point you've paid 2 health, you've paid a card. And now your opponent can just not block and keep all their foundations, or block and it doesn't matter. Like you just blow something up. I guess if your foundation base is like heavily reliant on one foundation, it kind of sucks. But if they just don't block, I mean, what you're paying 2 life and a card out of a 6-hander for however much damage you're getting through. I don't know. I don't know, man. What do you think about this card?
Um, I'm kind of there with you. One of the first things I wrote for our articles and stuff, I wrote about Evil Gaze because it was the first action that came out, and I I'm kind of there with you. If I'm going to play an action, I want it to win me the game. Especially like you said in a 6-hand size character where your cards are at a premium. And I just don't think this is doing it. It's doing a lot of neat things, like you said. It's easy to play. It's a 0/5. It's got a +1 mid block. It's got breaker 1. It's got a speed boost or reduction, and it fits in Shigaraki's theme of blowing up foundations. It's got the deadlock enhance to just straight up destroy one. Um, and it clears itself from your card pool, right? Like it removes itself, so that's good too. Uh, it's just I don't think it's good enough. Matt played it obviously in his Shigaraki deck when we played, and it kind of didn't matter.
Yeah, and I mean the combat tricks of it, of just being able to add extra speed after your opponent thinks they've gotten everything to a manageable spot, is nice. It's a nice way to
Hmm.
push through damage. I don't know if I'd want to. I don't know if I want to like pay life and a card from my hand when that situation might not even come up. I might not get to a situation where this surprise 2 speed is what gets the damage through to win the game.
Hmm.
I'm sure. I mean, it could happen. But I think it could be. I think it could be a little better.
You know what's even better than losing 2 health and giving an attack +2 or -2 speed?
Doing nothing and doing it,
Yes, just playing Eraser and doing it all the time.
or playing Froppy and doing it all the time.
Yeah, or playing Uraraka. I guess she doesn't give it -2 speed, but she gives her attacks
Yeah,
+2 speed for no reason.
this is
Uh,
true.
I think it's a neat design. I don't think this card should be an ultra rare.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
well. So some of these cards that we question the rarities on, they were probably designing for draft. I think
mhm.
this card would be really annoying if somebody had like 6 of them because it was an uncommon in draft. Like,
Yeah,
oh
that's
well,
fair.
you can't block this, and if you do, I'm blowing up 5 foundations at once. Ha ha ha. That wouldn't be great.
Yeah. Uh, I guess I see that, but yeah, it's Evil Gaze is there. Maybe like with a lot of these cards, we have a limited card pool, so maybe it combos better with something else or a different character later on.
Yeah,
Maybe there is a better character to play this off of than Shigaraki, or maybe a later version of Shigaraki is just better with this
and I
card.
and I guess let's do due diligence on this card and also
Hmm.
recognize it can be played defensively with the -2 speed, and it
Hmm.
still destroys the foundation if you block. I do like
Yep.
the card much more in that context.
Hmm.
I still wouldn't want to do it in a 6-hander because what am I doing? I'm building 3 cards on my turn, holding 3, one which is Evil Gaze. I have to use it to reduce speed and lose health to block, and then I'm left with 1 card in hand.
Yeah.
Um,
So at that
I
point, you're paying
don't love it.
2 card. Yeah, you're paying 2 cards and 2 health to block one attack.
Yeah, it's like every attack is hardened chop at that point.
Hmm. Except you're doing it
Um,
to yourself. You played yourself.
yeah, I mean, and so there's situations where it matters, right? If your opponent's got, I don't, if they're like doing stupid stuff with like, maybe they've got a coordinated effort in play and they're trying to go infinite on you, and you block one of their attacks, and you blow their coordinated effort up or something. You know, maybe it matters in some situations.
True. It
Um,
is. It is. You get to pick what it blows up, right? And if they're doing the deadlock shenanigans, if they're in deadlock, you can just use the deadlock enhance and just blow up coordinate. You don't even have to block the
yeah,
attack.
that's true. That's true. So I would give this card way more credit for being a pretty good defensive card. I think it's probably really good in a seven hander.
Hmm.
But like, you're not going to play it in Eraserhead though, right? Because you don't want to play that and Erase. But down the line, there might be an awesome Fire, Evil, or Death seven hander that's more defensive that you would play that in.
Hmm. Just thinking about like, say you pop a latent skill or something, and you pitch two foundations. You're like, all right, I just got to draw one attack,
Yeah.
and I win the game. And you draw not an attack. You draw like Evil Gaze. Fuck.
Yeah.
This
Hey,
could have been an attack.
maybe you maybe you give your attack speed, they block it, and then you can blow up their super regeneration, and then it's like you got another attack.
Fair enough. I mean, there's always you can always theorize the perfect situation in
uh,
which to use a card, right?
right. Hey, that's fun to me. Hey man, any card is good if I think of the perfect situation.
Exactly. Well, we don't really have any other actions, and we kind of touched briefly on the asset, and I feel like we've talked about the asset previously as well. The cape. So let's talk about some attacks. I think this is where death kind of shines. I think it kind of falls into that conundrum that a lot of symbol attacks are going to in this early stages of the My Hero card game, where each character kind of has a theme, and all those symbols and all the cards are going to center more around their theme, maybe, and there isn't a whole lot of overlap. I think Death actually has more overlap than some of the other symbols, just between Bakugou, Nomu, and Shigaraki are all kind of doing similar things. Um, and they all have Fury. Those characters all are all about Fury attacks. So you kind of have that theme as well. But I think with Void, we've just got like a lot of really strong, generically good cards for death attacks.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, anytime you got a character that's part of the rival decks, we've seen like a lot of those rival deck cards are just really strong, especially the attacks. So it gets a boon from that, just getting boosted up with all the Death Bakugo attacks. Because if you look through all these Death Bakugo attacks, I think you'd be hard pressed to find one that you just look at and you're like, man, that's not good. There's some
Yeah.
niche ones like Exploding Pride. It's probably not going in every deck in every tournament, but if there's a situation where there's characters abusing momentum, that's a really strong card.
Mm-hmm.
Instant.
I tell you
Oh, go
who
ahead.
it's good against is Sero, because Matt played it against me a bunch. Because Sero generates a lot of momentum, making people
Yeah,
off block stuff a lot. And he was like, "Well, I'm gonna play this card, and I'm gonna burn you for 3 or 4 every time I play it, and then
yeah.
we're gonna discard all your."
You would think it would be good against Kaminari, but not really though, because he's just making all his momentum and wants to use it all at once, like in the same turn he makes it. So probably not
Yeah,
actually good against him.
I was gonna say a lot of the characters that want to like have momentum shenanigans is probably not good unless for some reason they like mess up the combo or they trip up and don't get a piece out correctly, or you
Yeah.
can make them stall a turn. Like you said with Kaminari, maybe they add a bunch of momentum and for some reason you're able to shut down their turn. Then Exploding Pride is really good. I will say Exploding Pride does feel kind of like a sideboard card.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, it's I mean it's a low attack. There's something to be said for that. There's spoilers. There's a not a lot of low blocks that you want to play in this set. Um,
You can play Late Riser.
you can play Late Riser. One low attack or one low block you can play that's great. There's actually a couple. You got Signature Right Swing, which is awesome. It's +1 low block, and it's got latent skill right on it. Right, discard 2 to draw 2.
Yeah. So obviously, I
Um,
love this card because it
mhm,
does all the things I want it to do.
yeah.
It does damage and lets me filter cards, so I'm in.
Mhm. It's a low difficulty.
Yep. And a
And
very good low block.
and also Merciless Rush is a +1 low block as well, and that card's really strong.
Some say
Um,
this is the best attack in the set.
yeah, they're wrong, but that's fine.
Are they wrong?
Um, they are wrong because Ice Storm is the best attack in the set.
Correct. You have passed
You,
the
you,
test.
you know why? Because you're like, oh, well, Ice Storm is a low attack, and this is got a +1 low block. I just block it. Well, you're wrong. Ice Storm
It's
says it
true.
can't be blocked by attacks.
It's true. Got him.
Got him.
Yeah.
No, but no, Merciless Rush is just a really good card. It's always it's it's a 5 diff, but if you're playing in a 5-hand size, then probably it's a 4 difficulty. And there's even a chance in a 6-hand size character it's a 4 difficulty. I don't know that I want to run a whole like 4 of it in a 6-hand size character because you're more than likely going to be playing against another 6-hand size character.
Yeah.
But it's got a strong enhance. Blows up foundations if it's completely blocked. It's got EX on it. It's not bad. Um, if we're talking about best death attacks, though, I think we're
Best
talking
death.
about. I think we're talking about something like a howitzer impact. I think that's
You got that in your best conversation?
I think it deserves to be talked about in the best conversation.
You just talking about
Um,
like the strength of the card, or just like the pure like being above averageness of it, like off the stats? You going off
being above
stats? Or you
average
going?
is being above average stats wise because it's not. I don't think it's really a 6 difficulty attack, right? If you're
Yeah,
playing it in your deck and you're playing it as a 6 difficulty attack, you have fucked up.
right. So it's like a 4
Uh,
difficulty, 6 low for 6. Like,
mm-hmm.
I mean, at that point, you've had to destroy multiple foundations to get to that point. But yeah, like off of raw numbers, that's really good.
It's also got a +1 high block, which I think is really important. There's a lot of high attacks, a lot of really good high attacks.
Yeah, you want some good high blocks in your deck, no doubt.
Um, I think we're also talking. We got to talk about Relentless Barrage, right? Because if you're playing Bakugou, there's an infinite combo for you. I guess not too infinite. It does cost
Well,
health, but
it's infinite till it hits them for a bunch of damage.
yeah.
Um,
Um,
yeah, I mean, health is it's a resource, so yeah,
mhm.
it adds up. It adds up.
I mean, obviously, we got to talk about Nitro Explosion. I don't know that this is a great death attack, just because I'm not sure what death is really doing with momentum. I don't think it has a whole lot. I mean, you can get
Well,
something powerful too with
yeah, I
it,
was gonna
right?
say
I guess that's the thing you do with it. But outside
it's
of that,
this is a one card combo. It does everything you need.
that's fair.
So yeah, I mean, Death has access to a ton of Fury attacks because it has all Bakugou stuff. It has Shigaraki stuff. Even Aizawa has a single Fury attack, I believe, in Binding
Hmm.
Cloth Assault. Um, I mean, oh, and Nomu stuff is Fury. So
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, you have as much access to doing Fury shenanigans with Powerful 2 as anyone else does.
Hmm.
And the problem, the more so the problem, is you don't have ways to clear your card pool in Death outside of Bakugo consistently to actually use Nitro Explosion Ignition. So if you're playing Death Bakugo, yes, this card's probably really good. If not, you're kind of just relying on however many
Encouragement.
encouragements you have in your card pool, yeah, or in
Yeah.
your stage. I mean, so
That or instant explosive release.
yeah, that's true.
Um, which
Um, it's a good card.
I think it's a very good card. So we'll go top 3 best death attacks, or even you don't have to do top 3. What would you say just best death attacks?
Hmm.
I realize we haven't talked much about Eraserhead 6.
We haven't gone through a lot of stuff on Death Attack yet, but we can go through that here in a second.
Okay.
If God, best Death Attack. This is actually tough to answer. If we're judging by the number of them that I pulled from my boxes, it's Gale Force Punch because we got like 50 of them.
Yeah.
But if we're not using a stupid measurement, then maybe. Man, this is tough, dude.
I think it's ironically maybe Uraraka's attacks.
Her
Her 2
DLC
death attacks.
attacks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think it's probably Relentless Barrage for me.
Relentless Barrage, I can see that.
Yeah, I
It's
think that's probably where I would land on it because it's essentially a multiple attack.
Mhm.
Um, it's not as good as a multiple attack, just to be clear, but it's as close as we can get to a multiple attack currently in the game. Um, that or man, I don't know. I like Naval Laser Beam a lot too because it's like it's Breaker 2 and it unflip was one of the only cards that unflips things in the game right now.
yeah.
Um, But then, yeah, I mean, Float Combo and Pillar Swing are both really good. I think I would go with Relentless Barrage is the best, though.
Okay, I can get behind that. Um, I do kind of wish Turn to Dust were slightly better, right?
Hmm.
Like it feels like it's just missing a little. It's got Stun 2 printed on it, which is ridiculous. It's one of I think 2 or 3 cards that have Stun 2. Pillar Swing, another Death Attack, obviously has Stun 2. I think there's one more that has Stun 2. Is it Giant Ice
Giant
Wall?
Ice Wall, yeah,
Yeah.
and it gives your
Um,
next one stun too as well.
mhm. um, but it's just not doing quite enough. I think maybe its stats were a little bit better, like 5 for 4 high for 5. I get it's got EX on it, but it's just not quite there. I feel like.
Yeah, I am interested to see how Crow and Frog Takedown rolls into the meta with those
Hmm.
characters.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be much worse in Tokiyami than it will be in Asui,
Hmm.
but I think it could be good in anyone who wants to play ally or range stuff because it just doesn't count towards progressive.
Yeah.
I guess
Um.
I can't think of any foundation you would want to ready with Tokiyami right now, but with Asui you can ready her, which is
Hmm.
good. But with Tokiyami, yeah, you just gotta find something that's if they add some really strong like form commit foundation that just does something awesome for you and you can ready
Uh.
that, that'll be good.
Well, I mean, so it's obviously not in death. The Crow and Frog Takedown I have infinite, but if you're readying stuff, you could ready Air Feud before Force of Nature and steal something again.
That's true. Yeah, that's actually a
Um.
good call. And
Outside of that,
then yeah, I'll also talk about double front beatdown because it has the Bakugou response on it or the Bakugou enhance.
yeah.
Um, so this card, there's a version of this card that existed in regular the old game. We'll just call it the old game. Um, that you add it to your card pool and reduce attack back, so it's printed, but it discarded the top 3 cards of your deck to give you all the foundations. I don't know how good this will be in Bakugo. Um, I just don't think it's not doing what Bakugo wants to do right. Probably better in a Midori deck.
I mean, I guess the argument is for Bakugo is it's fueling his ability, right? He's getting fresh foundations to then use his enhance to destroy him.
That's true. That's true. But
Um,
it's a one check, and if you're trying to play aggro, you don't want one checks, right?
yeah, so I feel like Matt and I talked about this, and if you may have been there as well, I don't remember. If you're playing this, you're playing it a one of, and you're kind of mulliganing aggressively for it. I feel like so that way you're not checking it.
Yeah, I could see that.
Um, Outside of that, I don't. It does have like a close to an I don't die card, right?
Yeah,
Because you just pop it. Even if you're playing, like obviously you're playing against Ojiro, he's ability the speed can't if they're recipro bursting you, speed can't be reduced, but the damage can.
right.
Um, so you wait for them to do that, and you just put it in your hand, or just put it in your card pool. You're like, oh well, there you go, back to
Yeah,
whatever, back to 6.
it's still a lot of
Um,
damage, but still.
still, yeah. Um,
And then Gutter Punk Elbow, the other DLC attack.
uh,
Cancel the next non-character ability your Rebel plays. It's not going to be as good as you want it to be. I got bad
no,
news.
they
Um,
can do any dumb thing they want to, and
yeah,
I mean, it's look, they still have to do it, and more importantly, it's on defense, right?
yeah.
I guess there's something to be said that you're using it on defense, and the number of defensive abilities that they want to use are limited. Um,
And
but
then
more, I don't know. It's just like you said, it's just not as good as you want it to be.
yeah, and it stops after this enhanced step. This attack is a 5 damage attack with symbols that generally don't make the attack get really big. So,
Hmm.
I mean, maybe they just take whatever 5 damage, or they just block this attack and they don't play abilities or whatever, and then the ability just dies by the time your next attack goes off.
Yeah, I
So,
guess if you've got some momentum, you're looping cards back to your hand, right? Like that's not bad. But it's got to be a weapon card, which means you're probably playing Eraserhead off of all for the Momo attacks.
yeah, right now that
Or
could obviously change in the future, but yeah, um, yeah, combo off of a weapon to pick the first card in your card pool up. At some
yeah,
point,
I
that'll
guess
probably be
all of
something
his.
sweet.
Yeah, I guess most of his have weapon as well. Never mind.
It's
But
unfortunate that this attack itself doesn't have weapon on it. That way, it could be an infinite combo with itself.
hey, maybe they saw that and like, let's not do that.
And
Um, man. But like we said, kind of like with Void, I feel like Death's got it's got a very strong attack base. You're probably gonna be playing a lot of Bakugou cards just because that's where we're at right now with a lot of these. If they share a symbol with Midoriya or Bakugou, whichever one does, you're probably gonna be playing some combination of their cards in your character. And Death really benefits from the Bakugou attacks, whereas Midoriya, maybe you're running more of the foundations or something, but
Yeah.
Bakugo, man, those death attacks are sweet. They're just all kind of a problem.
Yeah, and then I know if we want to try and rewind really quick, I know we did best death attacks, but favorite death attacks is once again different for me.
Ooh, okay, what you got?
Favorite death attack is probably instant explosive release because I love shenanigans. I love
Yeah,
shenanigans.
yeah, I'm right there with you. I love that card. It's we talked about it before with Fire, but it's just so great. He's like, I'm gonna play this stupid attack first. You probably think, oh, whatever, I'll take 3. It's like, oh, did you take 3? Bam, it was a trap.
It's a trap. I'm clearing my card pool. I'm getting momentum. I'm killing you with plus ultra whenever I get those. You dead, son. You dead.
Mm-hmm. It's so good, and like the fact that it's not it doesn't have to be blocked or unblocked for the card pool clearing to happen. It just happens.
Yeah. So
Uh,
you go poo poo attack into instant explosive release. You get your momentum into naval laser beam, and you unflip some foundations. Let's go.
mm-hmm.
Great combo.
Or playing True Form All Might because he has death. You drop down 5 hand size All Might, give something powerful, whatever. And then you're like, bam! I got all this momentum, blow it up.
Yeah, boy. Let's go. We're
Bam,
pretty much
big brain moves.
we're geniuses.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's gonna kind of round out our discussion on death. Now is the time of the episode where Ryan quickly pulls up the random number generator, and we figure out what we're gonna talk about next week.
All right. So we're gonna do something new. You got to predict what the number's gonna land on this time.
Oh my god!
Gotta,
So it's 1 through 7,
uh,
or 1 through 6.
next week it's 1 through 7 because this will be there's 7 symbols left. Yeah.
Okay. I'll say 4.
He's guessing 4. What an idiot!
God.
It's the stupidest guess I've ever heard. Oh my god, it was 4.
Yes.
What an idiot that would guess 4 and be correct.
Well,
Good
it's
lord.
like the highest.
All right, so 4. Let's see what that is.
I'll say evil. I think it's evil.
Air, all, chaos. We've done death and earth. Evil.
Bang.
Evil it is.
I got the number and the symbol right. Yeah.
You did. What a guy.
Uh-huh.
He's there. So next week we'll be doing some evil shenanigans.
Ooh.
Exciting times.
Yeah. So this week, obviously, we've got some other stuff coming out. I think we have an article on Wednesday coming out. Do we have a deck profile or something from either Chris or Drew?
I think Matt actually did something, right?
Oh, that's right. Matt has a death character profile, right? Or deck profile.
He has a deck profile for someone that I can't remember. So you heard it here first. A death character.
Yeah. And so this will go up Tuesday. As we previewed earlier, we may or may not. I think we'll probably have something else coming up about the tournament. We'll kind of go over that. Talk about some results and kind of initial thoughts coming out from that. Other than that, guys, have a good week, and I appreciate you listening. Ryan, do you have anything to plug?
Yeah, man. Just like always, make sure you check out the website. I'll have all the. I'm going to tell you, universusacademy.org. Matt's been working on making a lot of cool content over there. Still, he's working on getting all the lessons that he's done into video format. That is a little easier to digest than going through the classes, which is going to be good. But it's still a good resource for people to go and learn to actually play the game if they've never played the game before. And then we also still have our ecommit.ufs.wordpress.com with all the written content on it. So I've actually started posting all of everything we do over there. So Podcast will be posted there. Written content will be posted there. The quick hits and the deck profiles. And then I got the Facebook updated to have a better URL, so it's easier to find. So facebook.com/Universus Academy. That's where we
Nice.
make all of our social media posts, so you can find everything pretty easy.
Mhm.
And then also we're trying to do some Twitch streams every now and then. Usually on Thursdays, I think is the plan at twitch.tv/Universus Academy. And I think that is all the social media things, but I'll put a link to everything in the description. That way it's easy to find.
Nice. Appreciate you doing all that stuff, Ryan.
Not a problem, man. That's what I'm here for.
Well, that's going to do it for this episode of the UA podcast. Come back next week. We're going to talk about evil. And I am John Jennings, and for Ryan Kraft. Thanks for listening, guys. Hope you guys have a great week.
Peace.
All right. Bye.